Anne France, BPhD Germany, ISFA Italy, LPSA Latvia, SFD Lithuania delegated to LPSA Latvia, NPSA Malta, KNPSA the Netherlands, FAF Spain delegated to KNPSA the Netherlands, NOPSA Norway, SOP Denmark delegated to NOPSA Norway, PPSA Poland, AFOPSA delegated to PPSA Poland, EPSA Ireland delegated to PPSA Poland, APF Portugal, MPSA North Macedonia delegated to APF Portugal, FASFR Romania, SPSA Slovakia, DSHFS Slovenia, NAPSR Serbia delegated to DSHFS Slovenia, ASEP Switzerland, EUPSA in Turkey, EUPSA Ukraine. Dominica VPA, there are 28 voting members present.
Madam President, I resume the standing orders.
Thank you. Keep it up. Let's continue. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we can officially start with today's GA session, which is the 7th GA from 5 till 6:30. Before we start with everything on the agenda, we have a small little household or thing we need to do. As you may have seen in the email and the message I sent you, we realized we also have to handle the tabled motion from, I believe, 2 GAs ago about the role of the, the grant coordinator. So for that, we still need to accept the late edition of the document describing the change. So we need to vote on the motion reading the 67th EPSA General Assembly accepts the late submission of the EPSA Grant Coordinator executive proposed changes tabled from 66 GA. With this motion, the article 4.1.3, which is article describing that all documents need to be included in the GA package 2 weeks beforehand, and 2.3.4, which is the same, but for motions, or for regulation changes of the terms of reference shall be overruled. I open the floor for discussion on this motion. Well, it's already been handed in, so we have to discuss it now. Let's see, who proposed the 9.3? Yes, ASEP, and seconders were EPSA. Okay, then I'll open the floor for discussion on 9.3. Manel?
Madam President, we'd just like to ask you to drop the 9.3 for a second so that we can say the executive's opinion on the matter first.
Okay, is the 9.3, do you want to drop it? That's it? Yes, yes, okay. Okay, do we have any points on accepting the late submission of this document? It wasn't in the GA package, so it has to be accepted as a late submission first. That's what we're doing now.
Madam President, we apologize for it being late because it should be automatically in this GA since it was late on the table on the last one. It's an automatic procedure, but yes, in that case, sure, let's vote on it.
So, do you close the floor for discussion?
Madam President, I close the floor for discussion.
Perfect, thank you very much. Okay, we will vote on the motion reading the 67th EPSA General Assembly accept the late submission of the EPSA Grant Coordinator executive proposed changes tabled from 66 GA. With this motion, Article 4.1.3 and 2.3.4, the terms of reference shall be overruled. Do we have abstentions? Do we have votes against? And do we have votes in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Then with 0 abstentions, 0 votes against, and 28 in favor, we accept the GA accepts the late submission of this document. Thank you very much. Before we come back to this matter, we will first handle the points as they are in the agenda, and this will be the last point on the executive motions. I just want to take this moment to remind everybody, remind the ODs that because there's going to be a lot of motions in this part, you have the procedural motions, know them, they're there for you to use. So if there's anything in the procedural motions that you think is necessary, don't hesitate. I'd also like to mention the fact that it's not in the procedural motions, it's that you can also propose an amendment to a motion. It doesn't need a procedural motion. You can propose one during the discussion of a motion, and then if the proposer and seconder immediately agree, the amendment will be put through. If not, the GA can vote on the amendment. But just know that that is an option too. Okay, thank you very much. Then we will continue with the regularly scheduled programming, which is the torso proposed changes, and for this I'll give the facilitation to Vanya.
Thank you. So we will move on torso proposed changes, and we will start from terms of reference executive changes. And I will read the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the changes to the terms of reference as proposed by executive, and I'm opening floor for discussion on this motion. I know that we are already discussed about this in the OD meetings, but feel free to add anything what you want, or if you have something, but I see none, so no. Technical, can you please?
Yeah. Well, ook al shouldn't the exec also still state their motivation for the like the change? Like
Technical Manel.
Madam President, since we went over all of these changes in our motivation in the OD's meeting, we of course can go through it again if you want us to do so. But since it was already done, we think we can streamline the procedure. I would like to see maybe a reaction from the GA, green if you want us to go over it again, or red if you are comfortable with voting without us repeating ourselves. Put them high so that we can see if there's a majority of something.
So Manel.
In that case, Madam President, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you. And we will proceed voting on motion reading the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the changes to the terms of reference as proposed by the executive. Is there anyone who is abstaining? And who is voting against? Who is voting for? Okay, we have 0 abstentions, 0 against, and 28 for. So the motion, the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopt the changes to terms of the reference as proposed by the executive is carried unanimously. And we will move to the next point. This is the standing orders of executive changes, and I'm reading the motion. The 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the changes to the standing orders as proposed by executive, and the opening floor for discussion. Portugal.
with APA of Portugal. So I just wanted to say that right now, like with this proposal, I think, I'm sorry, APA thinks that it's really more clear what happens during the GM. Thank you.
Thank you, Alpha. Anyone else with new comments, questions? Okay, Manal,
I close the floor for discussion.
thank you. We will proceed on voting on the motion that 67th EPSA General Assembly adopt the changes to the standing orders as proposed by the executive. And is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? So we have 0 abstentions, 0 against, and 28 for, and this motion is carried unanimously. We are moving to torso changes by members. We have the motion proposed by Anne France, and seconder was PPSA Poland, and motion is the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the changes to the terms of reference for Article 22.3.8 as proposed by the members. And I'm opening floor for discussion, but before that, I will ask first proposer to state their motivation, then I will ask the seconder the same. Anne France.
Gabriela de France. As we explained during the OD meeting, currently, if the Autonomous Assembly report of an EPSA team member is not accepted, they do not get any reimbursement for the mandate. As we briefly explained it, this motion is to give them a second chance. If this motion gets accepted, they can then get. No, I think I have a question for the PC. Sorry.
Okay.
Or the executive. Because we get a
Tim PCM1, I think it's probably best if you do your recommendation first, and then we can discuss in the discussion if you have questions with us.
Okay.
Okay.
But we have an amendment from the executive, I think.
No, President, the procedure still is that you state your motivation for it, then the second says to be approved, and then we can go through the executive's opinion, any amendments that wants to be done or anything like that, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. May I continue? So if this motion gets accepted, they can get reimbursed for the second part of the mandate if their annual congress is accepted. And thank you. Sorry if it was a bit confused, but if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask. We'll be ready to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Now I will ask PPSA Poland to state their motivation as seconders.
So at the PSA Poland, we believe Anne Hans explained to you everything you need to know. We just would like to state that we fully support the change that we together made. We believe it's crucial to keep the motivation going in the team. Thank you so much.
Manel?
Manel, President, then I will proceed to read to you the opinion of the executive on the proposed regulation change. The executive applauds this regulation change as we believe that it is very much aligned with this year's objective of making EPSA more accessible to our students, regardless of their socioeconomic backgrounds. But we would envision this change to reimburse 100% of the team members' expenses from the 30 meeting until the 6th, as we believe that the approval of the report to be synonymous with a work well achieved between this period and therefore disagree with partial reimbursement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manel. And I can open floor for discussion on this motion, so feel free to add whatever you want. Anna.
Gabriela de France. After discussion with the executive, we fully agree with the amendment of the motion, and we really wanted to clarify that it was just a misunderstanding from our side, and of course we support a reimbursement of 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Is there any other comments or questions to proposal, secondary or executive? I see none. Anna?
Madam President, we need a technical break just to check something in the standing orders.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. PCM1. As I just mentioned as well, if there is a suggested amendment and the proposer and the seconder agree, we can just accept that right away. My question to Anup is what is the exact amendment? Changing the 60% to 100%? Or yes, okay. Okay, thank you.
So, is there anyone else who needs to add something?
You should say amended. Oh, I'm in the wrong one, sorry.
Great. So if there is no one wants to add anything on this, well,
Madam President, the proposer of the motion needs to say word by word what they are proposing to be amended to, and then they will ask the seconder if they're still in favor of supporting the motion, and then we can proceed to voting.
Anna?
Gabrielle and France, I do not have to read the whole motivation speech, right? Just have to read the paragraph. Okay. I have 22 finances, Article 22.3, team found. Should I read everything? 22.3.8.2. For the second portion of the team found, the EPSA treasurer shall attribute it according to the following formula. Expenses of a team member during the mandate divided by expenses. Okay. Oh, please, thank you. 22.3.8.3. In the event that the Autumn Assembly report is not accepted and under the condition that the annual Congress report is approved by the General Assembly and the first team meeting report is approved by the incoming EPSA executive during the first team meeting, the person will be eligible to receive the second portion of the team fund. This second portion of the team fund shall then cover up to 100% of the costs incurred by this team member from the third team meeting until the first team meeting, in this case only. Is this alright if I end here? Thank you.
Thank you, Anef. And seconder, doesn't seconder agree? Okay, now we will open floor for discussion on this. And if anyone wants to, okay, does PPSA want to say anything on this motion? It's okay. So I open floor for discussion on this motion. Then no.
No, President, then I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
And we will proceed voting on the motion reading the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopted amended. In terms of reference for Article 22.3.8 as proposed by members. Is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? Okay, we have 0 abstentions, 0 against, and we have 28 for, and this motion is carried unanimously. We will move to other motion proposed by members, and the proposer is KNP Sweden Netherlands, and seconder is APE Portugal. Reading the motions, the 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the changes to the terms of reference for Article 23.4.5 as proposed by members, and I'm opening floor for discussion on this motion. But before that, I will ask the proposer to state their motivation, then the seconder. KNP in Sweden, Netherlands.
Ook in the Netherlands. Well, we propose this based on the current state of the world economy and how the current state of how the fees are determined. We are potentially looking at a constant voting cycle of evolving the fee to the current state of the world. With this change, that would be no longer needed, as the fee would just rise with inflation, enabling the RC to fund their events better. We also believe this should be applied to all EPSA events, unifying the EPSA events. Basically, the goal of this regulation change is aimed as part of a long-term solution and to have less discussion within the General Assembly regarding the fees. We are also aware of Article 23.4.7, but we are of the opinion that should be used as like more of a last resort and not become common practice as a way to fund future events.
Thank you, KNP in Sweden. And APE Portugal. APE Portugal just agreed. So I will open the floor for discussion on this motion. Anna?
Madam President, the executive is not in favor of this motion because we don't think that the proposed formula is in the interest of the events and the organization of future events. We don't see it as relevant for changing the fee yearly, and we don't see it as the yearly increase to be substantial. After calculations that we made, it wouldn't, in our opinion, make the difference between being able to organize an event or not. We also think that changing the fee yearly and not having it rounded to a clear number will be confusing to participants and hard to promote in this way as well. So we're not in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Manel. We have the Shepherds of Slovenia. Before that, technical by King PSV.
Although Keynesians, we would like to amend the reg change. Like, do I do that with a technical or just a point or?
Yes. You can. Yes. Just say what to propose. Propose to change.
Oh, do I have to read everything out loud?
Well, yes.
Or just the parts that I add, or
Well,
like,
change. Propose to change what you want to change here.
oh, I just like to add some things with that the fees will not exceed, basically, and that the, oh, okay, I'll just read out everything, I guess, including the green. The fees for the EPSA Annual Congress, EPSA Annual Assembly, and EPSA Semi-University shall be decided upon the reception committee and shall be according to the following formula, and the fees shall not exceed such formula. The yearly inflation shall be based on the harmonized index of consumer prices, which is calculated by Eurostat. This is Office of the European Union. This yearly inflation is the overall inflation for the euro area established by the European Central Bank. If the yearly inflation exceeds 10%, the fee shall be voted during the FGA. For consecutive years, the fee of the last year is used to calculate the one this year. The final fee shall be rounded to the closest whole euros or euro. This formula should be applied for the first registration period, which shall not be shorter than 1.5 months and cannot. And earlier than 4 months prior to the event, the reception committee shall always, okay, that's really relevant. The EPSA shall review this formula every year to inquire if it's still effective.
Sorry, Orko, we have technical.
Manel, President, as chairperson of the General Assembly, since this is a complex regulation change, reading it out, I think that people will not be able to follow it completely. So do you think that you can send it to the PC real fast and we'll project it so that people can read at the same time that you're reading and have a more clear understanding of what you're saying?
Sure, but do give me a technical break for that.
Of course.
yes, Tim PCM1, can you share it with Vanya, or should I just add to our drive and share it from here?
I also sent the PDF version to your email, I think.
Great. So, okay, KP Sweden.
Can you make it bigger?
Yes. Or scrutiny. Is it big enough?
I will just read it off there then. And I have to read the entire article, or just...
Yes.
Okay, well, enjoy. The fees for the EPSA Annual Congress, EPSA Autumn Assembly, and EPSA Silver University shall be decided upon by the reception committee and shall be according to the following formula, and the fee shall not exceed. Fee is yearly inflation of the Eurozone times the current or last year event fee. The yearly inflation shall be based on a harmonized index of consumer prices, which is calculated by the Eurostat, the Statistical Office for the European Union. This yearly inflation is the overall inflation for the euro area established by the European Central Bank. If the yearly inflation exceeds 10%, the fee increase shall be voted during the GDA. For consecutive years, the fee of last year is used to calculate one for this year. The final fee shall be rounded to the closest whole euro. The formula shall be applied for the first registration period, which shall not be shorter than 1.5 months and earlier than 4 months prior to the event. The EPSA executive should review this formula every year to inquire if it's still effective.
Thank you, KPSV. Now I will ask seconder if they agree, and if you want to state motivation on this as well. Another.
Madam President, can you just state exactly what you changed from the original motion into this one, so that we are all aware?
Let's have a look. I think we just changed this year every year. For this one, from 5 years to every year, and the fee shall not exceed. And if you go down, and for the fact that the final fee shall be rounded to the closest 4 euros. That's all we added compared to the original.
Thank you. Now is it okay? Yes. Seconder, does seconder agree? Okay, thank you. So we will continue discussion, well, open floor for discussion on this motion. Is there any comment? Okay, the Schiff was Slovenian. Then,
Masha Bishop Slovenia. I just want to ask the proposal to explain the formula again, because we believe that there are some mistakes, because if we take in consideration yearly inflation of, for example, 2%, whichever number you input, you either get a very high number, like 700, or if you input 0.02, you got like a small amount of money.
thank you, the Schiff. Can you see the Netherlands?
Well, it depends a little bit. Like if you use a percentage of a whole big number, you would still get like a relatively small number, but for ease of calculation, I would recommend just 0.02. If you would, for example, use 2%. to calculate the inflation base, to help calculate. So if that clarifies it for you.
We have Anne France.
Gabriel and France, we did not clearly understood. So my question will be, can you give us an example with concrete numbers so that we can clearly get what you mean? Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Can you please speak the Netherlands?
Yeah, Anton KPC, the Netherlands. I don't have a concrete example on hand right now, but if you use yeah, if you have 2%, you'd have to put the 2% like 0.2 as the yearly inflation times the current or last year's FNP, in addition to the fee you would get, in addition to the original fee.
Please raise point and speak. Sorry. Yeah. Też po Slovenia?
Masha, the chef of Slovenia, if you put into the calculation like 0.02, right? Multiple 300 is like 6 years. But if you put like two percentages, multiple 300 is like 600 years. So this.
Okay, can you see the Netherlands?
Yes, Anton KPC, the Netherlands. I see what you mean now. There should be an addition because there should be plus the original.
Thank you, can you see? Is there any other comments, questions? I see clarifications maybe? Okay. From EPSA Malta, clarification.
Assuming we're using like decimal points, so in the case of 2%, it would be 0.02. Say the inflation rate was 2.9%, would we incorporate it and do 0.029 for the calculation, or would it be like a rounded number? Just check.
Point information, can you see?
In this case.
Sorry, we had first point of information, then second.
Yeah, that'll be 0.029.
Thank you. Then direct runoff. Can you please drop? Is there any other new comments? Okay, this is for Slovenia.
Masha, the chef of Slovenia. I just want to say that the chef will vote against because this formula doesn't make sense, and we believe that yearly changes to fee are not necessarily and would make events difficult to assess even more. Instead of that, we believe that we maybe should lowering standards for accommodations, and this will be helpful for the future RCs to encourage association to organize an event.
Can you see the Netherlands?
Well, first, okay, so I would have to like amend the thing again to make sure the actual formula is maybe clear to explain. And then I would also want to comment on that, but first the amendment again, like to make the formula better.
Technical.
Okay, thank you very much. The direct is which you got the speaking order for has to be the direct comment on the EPSA. You can make that. After that, you can state the will to amend it. Yeah, I know, but the direct, you get the speaking rights to comment on with the EPSA.
Okay, can you see the Netherlands? Then after that we have PPSA poll.
Ook against the Netherlands, I do agree with that. With you that we should lower standards, but that's with the RC and that's not for this regulation change. I believe it's like the lowering standards. I mean, in my eyes, the regulation change and probably many other things are part of a larger way of improving how we're currently handling events. So I do agree with you there, but currently right now we can't really regulate that. For the RC, we have to have that with the talk with the RC, and then they will have to basically handle the standards for the events. So I can't directly influence that right now. So I feel like this is part of the solution, and I'm trying to come up with ideas and fix the whole situation with events. And yeah, basically agree with the lowering standards.
Thank you, KPS3. We have direct from PPSA to KPS3.
Well, at EPSA Poland, the cases we did not have any RC to work with to tell them that they can lower standard, that they can different the event, that they can shorten the event, that they can. I lost the word, sorry. But my point is, we did not have the RC that we could work with, that we could collaborate with, that we could talk with. So putting up again, 6 months after we discussed it in Alcala, to raise the fees, it's just not necessary. Thank you.
Anne, direct KPS3.
Also, KPS the Netherlands. And it's not this regulation change is not to directly just increase the fee. If I would have done that, I would just flat out slapped like a big number to raise the actual fee. This is just to combat the inflation that we experience yearly, so that it's not directly to basically increase the fee based on that and just make sure they have more financial things. It's just to make it easier, just have the inflation basically incorporated into the fee, as that happens yearly throughout the entire world.
Thank you, KPS3. Anne, France.
Gabrielle Anne, France. We think that the current equation doesn't make any sense, even if we strongly will stand against the increase of the fee, of course, as always. However, we just wanted to point out how ridiculous it is. Like if the inflation is 2%, and if the current of last year event fee is 300, it means that the fee will be 306 euros. So this is, well, okay. And if the fee, this event currently costs us 200 euros. And I think if the fee, my point is done, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne, France. We have direct from Portugal.
Lisa of Portugal. So with this proposal, we are not trying to say to the RCs like you have to put the fee with this formula. We are just setting the limits based on inflation. If the RC wants to do an event with lower standards, of course we will agree with it. Of course we want lower fees, but with this formula we are just trying to set a limit, because we are always bringing this point of discussion, what should be the limit, and we are always discussing this. So with this formula we are just trying to have like a clear set to the limits. Like this is just a limit. We are not trying to say. Sorry, I think my point is done.
Thank you. We have KPS3 now. If they want to amend, then we can move on further discussion after. No, it was. Sorry, we have also a lot of points before you guys, but we have KPS3. Direct is like this. New point is this. Okay, we know that, but we have a lot of points before you and Mapsa Malta. We have 3 or 4 points more. So can you please read pin of information?
No, clarification, sir. I'll just give a clarification. You raised a point to amend the formula, but you didn't have a speaking right at the moment, so now you're getting the points if you want to amend the formula now.
Okay, please read.
Okay, in PSV, I do want to add from amend the formula, because if you use it right now, it would just, you have 2%, so 0.02 times 300, which would be 6. You should add a plus at the end of the line behind the bracket, plus, and then basically it would be his current or last year event fee, as otherwise if you would reuse the formula right now, you would get €6. And yeah, I mean, if we could pay that, but that would be really fun, but I don't think an event is even possible then. So that's basically a mention.
Okay. First, we will ask seconder, does they agree on the amendment? Okay. Then we will move to other points of discussion on this motion, and this APF dropped. Then we have BPHD.
In EPSA Germany, we can only agree with what EPSA said, that we don't see the point in raising the fee like at all. We discussed that in Madrid already and we voted against raising the fee, so we don't see really the point in discussing that any further. Also, the overall inflation rate taken from the European Union doesn't really make any sense, because EPSA has member associations that are not part of the EU, who have like very different inflation rates than like EU countries. Yeah, so we'll be also voting against this.
Thank you, PhD. We have direct from KPSV.
All coincidence, I will say again, it's not just to raise the fees to combat inflation, but that's just going into circles regarding your the fact about the eurozone. The fee, like the current fee, is already made in euros, so it would make sense to also use the inflation of the euro. And there is not really like an easy alternative to use in Europe. So otherwise, unless you want to suggest I should use every currency's inflation, it is going to make it even like more complicated and I think unworkable.
Thank you, KPSV. We have your point from MPSA Malta.
Hi, Michael MPSA Malta. We just wanted to say that as one of the countries that experience a higher inflation rate than the European average, we see this as a very good decision. We also wanted to sort of point out that if even in the last GA there was discussions about raising the fee, what's stopping there for being like more discussions in preceding I think GAs, when we can just solve this problem by having a set number like to a set formula right now, and then I guess the only topic for discussion would be if we want to change the formula.
Thank you, MPSA. We have Yusuf Turkey. Next one.
Begüm, EPSA Türkiye. As EPSA, we understand that you take into account the increase in the fee regarding inflation in Europe, but like EPSA said, Turkey will be affected by the high inflation, and our exchange rate is rising every day, and €1 is almost 35 Turkish liras, and it's too much. You need a calculator sometimes. And we couldn't understand how a continuously increasing fee with this formula is an actual limit, like you said.
Thank you. The next point, we have direct KPSV.
Oko KPC, the Netherlands. I understand that it's a tough situation and it will affect you. And it's certainly not perfect, but at least I'm trying to find a way to like add to to do something about the inflation. Regarding the currency rates, this is not about the exchange rate of any currency that would still be affected. Like it would still be just as bad, even if I had no if I'm not done anything with inflation. So I don't think that's directly relevant to this point, to this regulation change. And I want to say more, but I forgot the last thing you said. Sorry.
Direct from EPSA Tokyo.
Begum in Turkey, I don't know it is a direct, but we need a clearer limit than this fee, like the old one, because we pay for visa also, and it's really a tiring process for Turkish students who need a visa, and taking inclusion in Europe one formula at a time will reduce the participation in EPSA events from the Turkish side by a very large percentage with this formula or any other rising fee proposal. So we would like to state that we are against to this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Turkey. Next time, just for you to know, it's a new point, not direct. So, yeah. Direct after Portugal, then KPNC.
With Portugal, like you said, we are not we don't establish a limit, but but the limit is always changing because the point 23.4.7 saying that the reception committee that wants to organize an event must present documents to prove that why they want to change the limit and why they want to have a fee more higher than the limit. Sorry, this is always something that is using, and then for the GA we have this discussion, like always trying to set a new limit every year. So we don't we don't have a limit already. We just with this formula we're just trying to. I don't know what more to say, honestly.
Point of information, Dominica.
Dominica BPIA, this procedure of submitting a letter with an association wants to organize an event and increase the fee, that's when you submit. That's when the submission of letter is necessary. If the association fits within the limit of, for example, those 300 euros, they don't have to submit anything of this kind and don't have to prove anything. Of course, the bid is presented at the GA the same way, but this is a different procedure and would only apply when association wanted to organize an event for a higher fee than we currently have set by Torso. It's 0.23.4.7 if you would like to look it up.
Thank you, Dominica. We had direct from KPNC, but before that, just for you to know that we have like only 3 minutes more for this point in agenda, but just for you to know and technical Manel.
Manel, President, there are no directs to a point of information. It's a new point then.
We had BP EPSA.
Nadezhda BPHSA. What is the meaning in increasing the maximum fee every year with little amount rather than having it increased when it's needed?
KPSA.
Oko Games Netherlands, well, we tried to raise the actual fee in a big amount last AA, that didn't go through. So I think it's also a bit of like a country's perspective on when things are like phrasing of the maximum amount is like needed. It might be different to some, well, different in economics or whatever. So it's still like the maximum, so the country would still, well, you could always go lower. So yeah, this is basically it increases in small amounts due to inflation. So like in longer terms, it still has an impact. And then if we like are more in time, if we actually like increase, like haven't submit an actual fee increase, it actually impacts the actual effectiveness of the fee. Whereas then we don't no longer comment inflation as we're now like taking into account inflation as if we wouldn't do this and we just say, let's say over 3 years, have like another vote of increasing it, then we had like inflation for 3 years and then part of the actual increase of that fee amount would then be there to basically have it maybe just to compensate inflation and would have this less effect.
Thank you, KPSV. The next new point is from CCPSA.
Tadashi, CCPSA Czech Republic. We believe that as we are a student association, that to fight the inflation or hiring the fee, we shouldn't take money from the students, which like from the fee is from the students. Of course, it's hard to find money elsewhere, but maybe to be more persuasive with sponsors or something, but we don't believe it should be from students or like the members of EPSA.
Thank you, CCPSA. Next new point is PPSA.
Hello, PPSA Poland. I know you're talking a lot about inflation, but also did you consider that inflation besides RC touches lives or normal lives? And it also gets expensive, flights get expensive. And did you consider that then eventually we might get less participants on the events, which makes making the event for RCs even more harder?
Thank you, PPSA. Can PSV direct on PPSA?
Okay, in the Netherlands, yeah, I know that like for everyone it gets more expensive, even in Netherlands. Sometimes people think we have lots of money, but in the end, you also would see that income might also like increase with like after inflation. I know we're students, we don't have a lot of income, but just want to state I think it's rather clear what most of you all think on the GA floor, and I think just adding additional points right now, like it's just we're just gonna extend this discussion at this point, and I feel like most of you already made up your mind on what you're gonna do. So I would suggest we just vote instead, just so we can save some time, unless you really want to discuss this further. Oh yeah, that's. I mean.
Thank you, KPSV. There is no other comments. We will personnel.
Madam President, if there are no new points, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you, Manel. And we will now proceed on voting. Okay. First, I will read motion. The 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the amended changes to the terms of reference for Article 23.425 as proposed by the members, and we will proceed voting on this motion. And is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? Okay, and who is voting for? Okay, thank you. We have 0 abstentions. We have 20 votes against and 8 votes for, so the motion is defeated. We'll move now to executive motions as next point in our agenda. And I will read the motion. The 67th General Assembly offers a 100% discount on EPSA Ukraine's membership fee for the mandate 2024-2025. Therefore, the association has to pay €0. Now, we will open floor for discussion. But before that, the executives propose motivation.
Madam President, again, with these motions, we stated our motivation in the official delegates meeting. If you want us to repeat, we can do so, but again, we would like to. I don't see anyone putting positive emotions for us repeating, so.
Thank you, Manel. So I'm opening the floor for discussion on this motion. If there is no comments or questions, Manel?
Madam President, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you, Manel, and we will proceed voting on this motion. The 67th EPSA General Assembly adopts the amended. The 67th EPSA General Assembly offers a 100% discount on the EPSA Ukraine's membership fee for the mandate 2024-2025. Therefore, the association has to pay €0. And is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? Thank you. We have 0 abstentions, 0 votes for, 0 votes against, and 28 for. So the motion is carried unanimously. We will move to another motion. The 67th General Assembly offers 100% discount on MSU Ukraine's membership fee for the mandate 2024-2025. Therefore, the association has to pay €0. So we agree that is not needed the motivation from executive, and I will open floor for discussion on this motion. Okay. So if there is no comments or questions for now.
Madam President, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you, Manel, and we will proceed voting on this motion. The 67th General Assembly offers 100% discount on MSU Ukraine's membership fee for the mandate 2024-2025. Therefore, the association has to pay €0. Is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting for? Thank you. We have 0 abstentions, 0 votes against, and 28 for, and this motion is carried unanimously. And we will move to the next motion that the 67th EPSA General Assembly accepts to change working statements 5, which shall hereby read: the 65th EPSA General Assembly mandate the EPSA executive to implement the results of the investigation on the evaluation of EPSA projects and activities until the end of the handover period of 2023, 2024, and 2024-2025 mandates at latest. I will open floor for discussion on this motion? Okay, Manel.
Manel present, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you, Manel. We will proceed voting. On this motion, the 67 EPSA General Assembly accepts the change working statement 5, which shall hereby read the 65th EPSA General Assembly mandates the EPSA executive to implement the results of the investigation and evaluation of EPSA project and activities until the end of the handover period of 2023, 2024, and 2024, 2025 mandates at latest. Is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? Thank you. We have 0 votes, 0 abstentions, 0 votes against, and 28 vote for. And this motion carried unanimously. And we will move to the next motion. The 67th EPSA General Assembly accepts the change working statement 8, which shall hereby read the 66th EPSA General Assembly mandates the EPSA team to launch the live learning platform until the 68th General Assembly. The term launch entails the creation and publication of a latest at least one e-learning course available to all EPSA students along with a tailored promotional strategy to reach the pharmaceutical students. And I'm opening floor for discussion on this motion. Okay, I see none, so
Now present, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you. We will proceed voting on the 67 EPSA General Assembly accepts the change working statement 8, which shall hereby read the 66th EPSA General Assembly mandates the EPSA team to launch the live learning platform until the 68th General Assembly. The term launch entails the creation and publication of at least one e-learning course available to all EPSA students along with a tailored promotional strategy to reach the pharmaceutical students. Is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting for? Thank you. We have 0 abstentions, 0 votes for, and 28 votes, 0 votes against, and 28 votes for. So the motion is carried unanimously. We'll move to the next motion, which reads the 67th EPSA General Assembly accept the change working statements 10, which shall hereby read the 66th EPSA General Assembly suspended Article 23.1.2 of the EPSA Terms of Reference until the 1st of January 2025, which is EPSA Annual Congress of 2024 and the EPSA Autumn Assembly of 2024 do not need to mandatory take place. And I'm opening floor for discussion on this motion. And Manel.
Now present, I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
Thank you. We'll proceed voting. On the 67th EPSA General Assembly accept the change working statement 10, which shall hereby read the 66th EPSA General Assembly suspend Article 23.1.2 of the EPSA Terms of Reference until the 1st of January 2025. With this, the EPSA Annual Congress of 2024 and the EPSA Autumn Assembly of 2024 do not need to mandatory take place. So, is there any abstentions on this motion? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? Thank you. We have 0 abstentions, 0 votes against, and 28 votes for. So this motion is carried unanimously, and we will move to next motion. Reading the 67th EPSA General Assembly mandate the EPSA executive to investigate the feasibility and relevance of the EPSA, formerly known as EPSA's Summer University, to continue taking place. The investigation shall base itself on the report submitted by the EPSA Summer University Reception Committee, but also on the feedback of EPSA alumni involved in the process and by means of an injury to member associations of EPSA. A final report on the investigation shall be submitted by the 68th General Assembly. Sorry. So I'm opening floor for discussion on this motion.
It's an inquiry. And then close the floor for discussion.
Thank you, Manal. We proceed voting on this motion. The 67th EPSA General Assembly mandates the EPSA executive to investigate the feasibility and relevance of the EXA, formerly known as EXA Summer University, to continue taking place. The investigation shall base itself on a report submitted by the EXA Summer University Reception Committee, but also on the feedback of EPSA alumni involved in the process and by means of an inquiry to the member association of EPSA. A final report on the investigation shall be submitted by the 68th General Assembly. And is there any abstentions? Who is voting against? And who is voting in favor? Thank you. We have 0 abstentions, 0 votes against, and 28 votes for. So this motion is carried unanimously. We will move to the next slide, which is tabled motion, and I will give Tim.
Yes, thank you very much. I get to speak to you again. Hello. So this is the point on the table motion I mentioned earlier, and I'd first like to ask, does the GA find it necessary to go through the changes that were proposed? We did send them pretty late yesterday, so I understand if people have not yet had the chance to read through them. Can I see green cards if you want me to open the document and go through the changes? I can give a short summary that all the changes are related to, if I say correctly, the removal of the grants coordinator position. So there's changes in Torso and there's changes in the handbook, and all of them basically mean just removing any point that concerns the grant coordinator. So if this motion is carried, we would no longer have a position in the team that is the grant coordinator. Okay. So do people want us to slowly go through it? Manel, technical?
Manel, President, after team having explained that the motion is to drop the position of grant coordinator, do you still find it relevant to go through the specific changes? Okay, I don't see anyone in favor.
Thank you very much. Okay, I see that there's a general agreement that it's not necessary to go through the document step by step. Then we will go to the discussion on the motion. Okay, is that for after I read it, Manel? Do you want to have it now? Okay, so this motion proposed by the EPSA executive reads: the 67th EPSA General Assembly approves the changes to the terms of reference Article 8.1.2.15, which is about the grant coordinator, and the team handbook regarding the grant coordinator as proposed by the executive on the 56th EPSA General Assembly and tabled until the 67th EPSA General Assembly. I'll just note that because this regards torso changes too, we need a 2/3 majority to implement the torso changes. The handbook changes only need a simple majority. With this out of the way, I will open the floor for discussion, and Manel has a point.
Manel, President, we would like to state that the current executive is not in favor of dropping the grant coordinator position, but for once, because we see that there is an interest from member associations to still discuss a motion on an investigation regarding it, and on the other side, because through this year and through the resignation of the removal from office from the grant coordinator's side, we don't think we have enough information based on the experience of this many to make such a big decision, and it might still have relevance, so we don't feel comfortable dropping such a position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any points, questions, recommendations, insights on this motion? Okay. If there are no points,
No, President, then I close the floor for discussion on this motion.
thank you very much. Then, we can finally proceed to actually voting on it. That's exciting. We will proceed to the vote on the tabled motion from the EPSA executive reading. The 67th EPSA General Assembly approves the changes to the terms of reference article 8.1.2.15 and the team handbook regarding the grant coordinator as proposed by the executive on the 65th EPSA General Assembly and tabled unto the 67th EPSA General Assembly, which is now. Do we have abstentions? Do we have votes against? Is them high, please, so we know exactly? Thank you. Okay, we just need to count them again. Sorry, folks. Okay, thank you very much. And do we have votes in favor of the motion? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Then with 0 abstentions, 2 votes in favor and 26 votes against, this motion has been defeated. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of the agenda for today. How are we doing on time? Then I believe I can give the roll call to Dominique. Oh, technical minute.
Now, President, just to explain why we're not putting points forward, we think that there's still time on Friday and Saturday to discuss everything that needs to be discussed. And since the rest of the program of tonight still needs some preparation also from your side, there was a bit of a long day with the symposium. We're giving you also some time to rest. And yeah, we'll close the GA 8 minutes before the scheduled time if you're in agreement. And also to tell you that the chairperson of the Autumn Assembly of 2023 has submitted their final chairperson report. This has been added today to the General Assembly package. We hope that you still have time to read it before the point on Saturday. We will of course have to vote on you to accept this late document to be discussed in the General Assembly on Saturday, but yeah, we apologize from Javier's side because he could not do it before. Thank you. And I will propose a roll call.
Dominica VPIA, VPHSA Bulgaria, CPSA Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina delegated to CPSA Croatia, CPSA Cyprus, CPSA Czechia, FIPSA Finland, ANA France, VPHA Germany, ISPA Italy, LPSA Latvia, SFD Lithuania delegated to LPSA Latvia, MPSA Malta, KMPSA the Netherlands, Spain delegated to KMPSA the Netherlands, NOPSA Norway, SOP Denmark delegated to NOPSA Norway, PPSA Poland, AFA Austria delegated to PPSA Poland, IPSA Ireland delegated to PPSA Poland, AFA Portugal, MPSA North Macedonia delegated to AFA Portugal, PASAPER Romania, SPSA Slovakia, DSHPSA Slovenia, NAPSER Serbia delegated to DSHPSA Slovenia, ASIC Switzerland, IPSA in Turkey, IPSA Ukraine. Dominica Vipe, I collected 28 voting cards.
Madam President, then I suspend the standing orders.